everybody, Megan Fielder here from Algebra Elevated, and today I want to talk to you about Boom Learning, and specifically Flow Magic on Boom Cards. It's a newer feature of Boom Cards that I have loved. It has totally changed how much I use Boom Cards in my classroom. I think this is a game changer for students like mine who like to kind of speed through assignments and then they're done when they're done, regardless of how accurate the work they did was. So, if you're not familiar with Boom Cards, they are a digital card, task card type situation that is on a Boom Learning platform. And there's a lot of details. They can do a ton of things, but they give immediate feedback to these teacher created problems. Now, you do have to buy a subscription in order to use these with a lot of students. They do offer a free trial version if you're working with just a handful of students. That is an option. But like me, I had to buy a subscription, but I use it at least once a week, if not more. So for me, it was worth it. Now, back to Flow Magic. So, Flow Magic is a way that they have programmed their cards to be coded to what happens next. Now, there are very, very complicated ways to use Flow Magic. A lot of teachers use them to differentiate. So, if you get the question right, it will take you to this page. If you get the question wrong, it's going to take you to this page, which I have done in my own Boom cards. But what I have used it for most often is if they do not get the question right, they can't move on. That's it. So they cannot continue to the next question until they get everything on that card correct. And then it advances them, advances them, advances them, and then at the end, it finishes the task for them. So no longer can they just skip a card if they don't like it or move on without fixing their mistakes. They have to get the answer right to get to the end. Now, a little issue with it that I have found, and I've talked to tech support, and there doesn't seem like there's a workaround at the moment. I have found that if a student starts a task with Flow Magic on, if they close out of it, it will restart them. Now, this was a quick learning lesson for some of my students, but when they are working on something in class and they don't finish it, it is kind of annoying that sometimes they get in a weird spot where they have to restart. So I've just gotten in the habit of telling my students, okay, you have to write your answers down. That way, if it does restart you, no problem. You have them all there. So let's take a look at how to set this up. Okay, so I'm in one of my decks on Boom Learning that I've already created. So I have my template card and then my actual activity cards look a little different. But how you turn on Flow Magic is you go to details and then you check this button here. That little info icon tells you that you can't randomize in Flow Magic, so you're choosing Flow Magic instead of randomizing. But what Flow Magic does is you can add buttons, and then when you click on it, this is the new piece. So it says link to, and then you can do previous card, you can do next card, you can terminate play, or you can say no link. And you can also do this conditional link, which is what I have done. So I linked it to the next card. So it says next. It's going to go to the next card. But the conditional piece is checked. If it's wrong, if they get the answer wrong, it doesn't take them anywhere. So it doesn't go anywhere. Now, if the answer is wrong, this is where a lot of people get into some kind of elaborate things. It takes them to this page where it explains the answer, which is fantastic. But that's more than my students need. If they get it wrong and they need help, they raise their hand, I come help them because I'm doing this in class. So this is just bare bones, what can Flow Magic do? So I put a next button on there, and then this is where they type in their answer. So they type in their answer. If they get it right, it moves them on. If they don't, then they're just stuck because that conditional link says if wrong, don't go anywhere. Now the only thing to kind of keep in mind is on the last button, I just changed the text to finish, and how I create that button, it's literally just a button. But I just changed the text on the button to say finish, and this one, when they click on it, it goes to terminate, because otherwise they get in this weird spot where they're all done, but Boom Learning just has them like exit out, and the kids don't know what to do. So if you say terminate, it comes up with a message, congrats, you're done with this task. So if I go back to the top, and if I preview, let's see what this looks like. So I can type my answer in, and if I hit submit, it just tells me I'm right or wrong. It's when I hit next that it actually moves me on. So then this one, let's do it, say I did 5/3. I click next, Oh, it's not going to let me because I don't have the right answers. If I fix that answer, if I click next instead of submit, it will move me right along. So that is a little intro to Flow Magic. So that is just one example for how to make Flow Magic easier than I've seen out there and make it really, really helpful with the students. I like to scaffold my resources, so question 1 is going to be easier than question 20. So if they can't get past question 1, I want them to stop there and then get going afterwards. Now, a little thing that I wish was still possible was sometimes I do like to randomize my cards, and that's not possible at all with Flow Magic. So when you're doing with Flow Magic, all your students are going to start on that first screen together, which can be good and bad depending on how well you know your students. I have a few students that like to help each other out, so every once in a while I have to remind them to make sure they're helping and not just giving each other the answers, because that can happen. But make Flow Magic simple and help your students move on once they actually know what they're doing. Last little tidbit, if you made it this far in the video, with Flow Magic, you kind of want to avoid the multiple choice questions, because if you guess and check enough times, like 4 times, then it's going to have you move on. And I've found that sometimes the students aren't really reading what they're doing. So those free response questions or sorting questions, because there's a lot going on, are a lot better for use with Flow Magic than those multiple choice questions. If you like this video, please subscribe to learn more tips and tricks and some of my favorite resources out there. In the description, you'll find a link to the resource shown in the video, as well as a link to check out Boom Learning. The Boom cards are so amazing and they're so fun for the students. They make this little ding sound when students get something right. They love it. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them below or message me on Instagram @AlgebraElevated, and I'd love to talk with you more. Have a great day.